I'm Mark Davis of B&W News, and I'm here today with John Costigan, the Vice President of Corporate Development for Western Potash. John, how are you today?
Good, thank you very much.
Nice to see you.
Likewise.
First of all, John, you follow the agricultural sector very closely, so what geopolitical trends are you following at this time that you think investors should be able to capitalize on?
Well, Mark, to start with, believe it or not, there's going to be 219,000 more people for dinner tonight, which means we're adding about 80 million people to the globe every year, and we have got to feed those 80 million people. So as a global trend, what we see is an enormous consumption in milk, dairy, and eggs. It's unprecedented. It's not going away. And we have somehow got to figure out, as I said, how to feed these people. Now, what we are able to do is provide one answer among many, and one of that is to continue to provide an element of the fertilizers that are required to increase crop yields. And not only do we have a growing demand issue, we have a growing, well, the supply side is just as fragile, and because we are looking at the reduction of land in terms of urbanization, desalinization, loss of water tables, aridification. So there's enormous stress on our agricultural system. But what we have to do is what we have left. We have got to improve the yields that we get out of every inch of our crop.
So how do such geopolitical dynamics impact your company, Western Potash?
Well, it's directly related. There is almost a one-to-one correlation between grain prices, typically corn, which is a very large consumer of what we are looking to produce called potash, and fertilizer prices. Corn has been at its highest in 2008, and so were fertilizer prices. And we're seeing a rebound back to that. Corn is currently almost at $7 a bushel. So you can imagine, as the farmers' crop prices are more lucrative, their inputs they care relatively less about. I mean, they want to maximize the crop growth. And how do they do that? Well, through fertilization. I mean, that's number one, through compound. And the use of NPK fertilizers are paramount in terms of achieving yield, predictable yield. So as crop prices go, so do fertilizer prices, and that's what we're looking at producing.
So what has Western Potash done recently that's particularly newsworthy?
Well, I mean, we are a mining company, so we have just upgraded our general potash resource. We've increased it 40%. We're now at a measured and indicated resource base of over 244 million tons. And if you can imagine, we're going to be producing about 2.5 million tons a year. That is close to 100 years of production. So that's very significant from where we stood only 6 months ago. And we're well on the way to becoming a Tier 1 producer.
And finally, John, what are the future plans for Western Potash?
Well, obviously to get to production. I mean, currently we're in the middle of our pre-feasibility stage, which is engineering. But we're halfway through that, which pretty much means we have defined our mine. All we need now is to design it in terms of doing the diagrams. We get into feasibility, we count the nuts and bolts. So we're pretty much there. It's still a process. We require environmental approvals, which basically is a cookie cutter in Saskatchewan, because there already is 9 potash mines in Saskatchewan. It's all been done before, it's all been mined before. And as I said, we're well on our way to becoming a Tier 1 producer.
John, thank you for your time, and I wish you and Western Potash continued success.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.